Mowgli Legend of the Jungle is now streaming on Netflix and it's directed by Andy Serkis and it stars Rohan, Andy Serkis, Christian Bale, Cate, Blanchett, Benedict, Cumberbatch, and many others. The story follows the upbringing of a human child, Mowgli, raised by a pack of wolves in jungles of India as he learns the often harsh rules of the jungle under the tutelage of a bear named Baloo and a black panther named Bagheera while he's being hunted by the vicious tiger Shere Khan. Now this film very infamously had pre- and post-production issues. It had to be delayed to distance itself a little bit from The Jungle Book directed by Jon Favreau, and even after being shot and being edited, the post-production went awry when they wanted to distance themselves even more from that film, and so Warner Brothers went back and forth between selling it on Netflix. It was supposed to come out in October, then it was sold to Netflix, it was supposed to come out next year, and then suddenly it was announced to this weekend. Well, now I got a chance to watch it, and the film is so and so. I can definitely understand why Warner Brothers wanted to sell this film for Netflix, because it honestly would not have made a lot of money given the word of mouth that is going around. But there are certainly merits to this version of the Jungle Book story. Andy Serkis wanted to do a pretty faithful telling of the original book in movie format. And I think he does a really good job. Despite not having read the book itself, I have heard what the book is like, and from what I've heard, Andy Serkis does a really good job. His direction is really great. Not to mention the directing of actors, but the motion capture performances are brilliant in this film. The animals look great for the most part. There are a few instances where some animals look better than the others, but overall, the fact that he put these actors through the motion capture process that Andy Serkis is famous for, and they all came out really well, is something to applaud. And the kid who plays Mowgli is really good as well. If you kind of recognize his face but don't remember where from, he actually played Adam Sandler's son in Jack and Jill. I know you all wanted to forget that, but here I am to remind you, I am the asshole in this story. And the performances all around are really good. I really like Andy Serkis as Baloo, a very different version from Baloo, but I really enjoy them in this film. Benedict Cumberbatch as Shere Khan is really great as well, but the best character in this whole film is Bagheera. Bagheera played by Christian Bale. He is so freaking good. He is humble, he is vulnerable, he is fragile, but he's a badass through and through. The lessons he teaches to Mowgli and to the other wolves in the pack is just something of dreams. It's exactly what you want in a teacher, in a tutor, in a film, and Christian Bale portrays that beautifully. In fact, he portrays that so well, and Bagheera was written so well as a character. At one point, he tells kind of his backstory to Mowgli, and that almost sounds more interesting than this film. My biggest problem with Mowgli Legend of the Jungle is that the film feels very loose. It doesn't feel very focused. Andy Serkis clearly wants to direct a very different movie than the most famous versions of the Jungle Book story, and he does. Sometimes it does things well, but unfortunately most times it does things okay-ish to bad. As I said, the film feels very unfocused to the point where some characters that you know are interesting to the story or they are more important than others, they don't really get the time to shine necessarily. Shere Khan disappears more often than not in the film, and Kaa is really wasted in this film, especially because she's played by Cate Blanchett. One of my main issues with the 2016 Jungle Book was that Kaa was in one scene to give out some sort of exposition. In here, they actually try to do something with Kaa, but they end up only giving her several scenes of exposition. She even interferes in the story at one point, but it doesn't really make any sense for her to do so. And there are lots of monkeys in this film who kidnap Mowgli, just like in the 2016 Jungle Book, but there's no King Louie. Well, you only needed that because monkeys to kidnap Mowgli, but in here they are working with Shere Khan. Why does Shere Khan need monkeys? He's a fucking tiger. And one of the most interesting things in this film is that we actually see Mowgli getting to the human village and living there for a while, getting accustomed to it and beginning the separation of his animal family to now his seemingly human family. But that really only gets introduced so we can meet this hunter that suddenly is important to the story, where it doesn't seem right at all. And so the film takes these several different directions, but it doesn't really do anything that truly feels meaningful for the story with him. And another big gripe I have with this film is that it's being sold as this very much darker tale of the Jungle Book story without songs and all. Look, songs won't really make your film any darker in terms of tone. This film is so much not any darker than the 2016 one, for example, that there are 2 scenes that are extremely violent and vicious and gruesome to see in a film like this, in this environment, that I really jumped out of my seat. I was like, holy shit. Okay, that is dark, but the rest of the film really isn't. As I mentioned previously, there are merits to this film. There are things that are really well done. Overall, the story doesn't really work for me. If you have a son or a nephew, or you know a young child who has never seen The Jungle Book, doesn't know the story, this is certainly a good introduction to them. I guess it's a fine one. It's okay. It doesn't deteriorate from the original story or from the story that you might know from other versions. But Mowgli Legend of the Jungle doesn't really work on all levels. I adore Andy Serkis with my heart, but this doesn't really showcase his talents beyond directing actors and capturing their performances through motion capture. The script really feels all over the place. I'm going to give Mowgli Legend of the Jungle a C+. Guys, what did you think of Mowgli Legend of the Jungle? Were you excited for it? Were you not? Is this your favorite version of the Jungle Book story? Is it your least favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. Many reviews coming this week for Mortal Engines, Aquaman, Bumblebee. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my review for Spider-Verse and for Green Book. They're already on the channel again. Thank you so much, you guys are the best. So until the next review, stay beautiful, stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button, click the bell, so we can be geeky unite!